Yo guys, what is up? It's Teach here, coming at you again with another video over on PALWORLD, and in this video I'm going to show you the most effective weapons at every single level, and I'm kind of going to do it in level jumps just so you can see what things are good at each area. Now, if you don't mind, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below for the algorithm, and then consider subbing to the channel. But let's go ahead and get into it. So I have pretty much every weapon in the game here, and basically I'm going to walk you through what you need to know. So we're going to start out between levels 1 and basically 20 right now. So technology wise, level 1 and 20, you unlock old bow at level 3, which is a great early weapon. But basically what you want to focus on as soon as unlocking that old bow is you're going to basically try and power level until you can get the 3-shot bow, because the 3-shot bow is way more effective and you can just tame a few extra creatures in order to get it. And then once you get past that, obviously your next upgrade is the crossbow. But the question is it really worth it to go from the crossbow, I guess from the 3-shot bow to the crossbow? And then before that, once you get that level 20, obviously that's your range. You really don't unlock any late game stuff until that point. So let's go ahead and show you the damage comparisons, right? So a crossbow is going to do an attack. Yes, it's got the best overall attack at 280, and a 3-shot bow looks like it only has 40, but that's per shot. Now, just to show you a comparison, I'm going to go ahead and put all of them in my inventory, and I'm going to talk about why actually the best thing, even late game, can sometimes be your bow. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you. So this right here, right? So we have our, where'd that crossbow go? There we go. Let's go ahead and trade that out. And right now, this is the old bow, right? So if I was to pull back an arrow in this guy, you'll see that one does 397, and then this one's going to do 594. Now, the reason that does so much damage is because the old bow is one of the easiest things in the entire game to actually get a ridiculously high level one. You'll notice that this was incredibly cheap in 247. Once you get this in early game level, like the early game dungeons, you can get schematics for insanely overpowered bows. Now, this one's a 247 for really dirt cheap, and it's probably your best friend until like level 30, but you know, we're not going to go into that yet. But if we're just talking the base product, right? So obviously this one right here is a big difference. Your generic bow does 145 to the head, and on full pullback, you're looking at around 100 damage total. Now, the 3-shot bow, however, notice how we have 81, 90, 93. That's almost 300 damage if you hit crits, and then about 170 damage if you just hit body shots. Now, the 3-shot bow is incredibly useful, and then a little bit more damage can be off-put by that crossbow. Notice how that's 652, and then 402 to the actual body. Now, here's the thing you want to watch out for. So which of these three is actually the best in your first 20 levels? And the answer is actually pretty easy. The answer is your 3-shot bow. Now, the reason is actually not quite what you expect. Though, yes, the crossbow has the highest DPS of these three, technically. It's got a little bit of a reload time. And when you're throwing a Pokeball, or whatever you want to call it, a ball with this thing, it makes it very difficult because you have to sometimes actually cancel your reload and then reload in a different fashion. Whereas the 3-shot bow, you have to pull it back, so you always know what and when to expect when you're going to actually get a shot off on this thing. And you can shoot about twice as fast as the actual crossbow, as well as one quick benefit, which is why the best weapon is the 3-shot bow. Because if you don't pull back all the way, you can do reduced damage and control how much damage you're actually doing to a PAL. So if you're trying to barely drop its overall health, you can see that right there. I can literally just click shot. Now that click shot is only going to off-put 60 overall damage, whereas with a crossbow, you don't have that option. And then also, if you're looking to increase the damage, you aim for the head and you have 300, which is literally just about as fast as you can fire the crossbow. So it fires as fast as the crossbow. And not only that, but it's also going to be something where you can control the damage by just doing that click shot and doing minimal damage. So best weapon, level 1 to 20, is actually the 3-shot bow. Now let's go ahead into the next category, because though, yes, it's helpful to know what you can get up to level 20, the next category is what people really want to know about, because the musket, though it's great, you know, it's like it's an early game weapon. Then you kind of move on to the makeshift handgun, then you move in to the actual handgun, and then around 38-ish is where you start getting a little more powerful, and you can get that single shot rifle. Even though it looks like an assault rifle, it's actually not. So anyways, moral of the story, don't really even bother with the single shot rifle. I mean, the musket, it's not good. because the real weapons that you want to focus on up until level 40-ish, by the way, and it's really only 2, and it's not particularly close because we talked about the makeshift handgun, the single shot rifle, right? And then don't even bother with the handgun. I've used it. It's terrible. So you have the makeshift handgun, which the reason that this, and I'm only going to compare this one with the single shot rifle. I don't know why I don't have that single shot weapon right now, but I'll show you the difference between the two of these. So the makeshift handgun shoots quite a bit faster than the single shot, obviously, because you have a long reload time. And then it does the same amount of damage that a crossbow does, but obviously you're going to have more off-put damage overall. And it's just a good weapon in general. Now the handgun, the weaponry is a little bit more expensive, and you're getting just about the exact amount of damage on it. So that's why I think the makeshift handgun is better than the overall handgun. But the makeshift handgun is a good weapon just because it's, you know, it's good for burst damage. However, probably my favorite weapon in the game still is this single shot rifle. Now, the reason that I like the single shot rifle is because it does an absolutely ridiculous amount of damage. It's got a base damage output of 1100, which is obviously quite a bit when you're trying to, you know, do a bunch of damage. And if you're aiming for headshots, even up to like level 30 or 40, you're pretty much going to one tap everything in the entire game. And this is a base level one, so you can see that it's got a ton of durability. And that attack of 1100 to a headshot does like 25 to 4500 damage, depending on the level difference between you and whatever you're shooting at. So this thing is a monster. And even up until the late mid-ish 40s, this is probably one of the best weapons in the game because you can isolate a quick shot to the head and then switch to something else. So I will literally shoot and then I'll switch into my makeshift handgun, and then that's how you get that extra damage right off. But it is a crazy weapon for mid game. So the single shot rifle is pretty much the best weapon mid game that you can have. Now, when it gets to late game, this is more of what people care about, right? So you've got some weapons that are kind of crazy. So I've got some of the ones that you want to focus on. So we have the double barrel shotgun. Honestly, don't even bother. I would rather put that single shot rifle in there instead. You've got the pump action shotgun, we've got the assault rifle, and then the rocket launcher with obvious 10,000 overall attack. I'm gonna tell you it's not my favorite, but you know, you can do what you want with it. I fired one shot, it did 400 damage to a Pengu, and I was like, yeah, but that's enough for me, don't need more than that. But anyways, the weapons that you really want to carry, because of the cost and reload speed of the rocket launcher, it's not very effective. I know that seems like it's a little bit of a confusing thing. People are like, what do you mean it's not effective? It's not that it's not effective, but cost per round is not worth it for the rocket launcher. So you want to keep an arsenal of the assault rifle, pump action shotgun, and the single shot rifle. The single shot rifle still has one of the highest DPSs in the game with that a headshot damage of 1100 and able to fire at a distance. So being able to choose do a quick shot with your single shot rifle and then move into your overall damage, you can see how much damage that does with this pump action shotgun, right? As long as you're getting headshots, this is one of the highest DPS things in the game. You can see that it's doing about 500 damage per pellet. And while it shoots a large amount of pellets, it's kind of crazy the amount of damage you can get off with a pump action shotgun. So, though that's nice and all, the assault rifle still takes the cake when it comes to the overall best weapon in this class. The bullets are pretty affordable to make, and late game you get quite a few just by killing your generic NPCs, and it's got a base damage of 320 plus 20 rounds in the clip. You can see that this isn't even close. It's not even a challenge, right? At about 700 damage per headshot times 20, you're doing 14,000 damage per clip, and you can control how much you do to a target. Again, the point of this guy, where is that rocket launcher? This is for no other reason than to kill something. The rocket launcher does so much damage, and to late game bosses, it's just not worth it, because you can't control the overall damage. Where with an assault rifle, you can actually feather it and kind of just do a shot at a time and kind of aim for those headshots and lower the overall health of something pretty rapidly. As you see right there, I just dropped it 17,000 really quickly. So the assault rifle is still the best weapon in the game. Now, I will say, like I mentioned earlier in this video, you can get better overall blueprints for these things, or schematics as this game calls them. So if you were to get a really good one shot or single shot rifle or a really good pump action, that could definitely take the place of the assault rifle. However, if we're just talking apples to apples at the lowest level possible, this is one of the best weapons in the game when it comes to doing overall damage. It is a really powerful strategy to be able to use this thing right, because it just does an insane amount of damage and it's just a useful overall thing. So anyways, I know it's a little bit of a long video, but hopefully it does a good job of explaining what weapons are good at each level inside of this game. And yes, it is something that you should definitely check out each weapon and figure out what's best for yourself. But that's my opinion for it. So hopefully this video helps you out. And other than that, teach.